We have a new mock draft to break down for you guys. ESPN's Matt Miller dropping a 7-round NFL mock draft. We are breaking down the Cowboys picks for it. Now, if you want the fan-led Cowboys mock draft this year, maybe doing it as soon as a couple of days, type me in the comments section of today's show. No trades, by the way, in this mock draft, so can't, make that happen. Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, Shadur Sanders, Travis Hunter, Mason Graham, no surprise there. Ted McMillan, T-Mac, goes number 6 to the Raiders. So that's an unfortunate blow there for the Cowboys. Armand Membu to the Jets. That makes sense. Jalen Walker. Jahdae Barron off the board at 9. Ashton Genty off the board at 10. And Will Johnson off the board at 11. So you're missing out several players that you'd have interest in. Johnson, Genty, and McMillan are, I think, 3 of the more likely options for Dallas if they get to 12. That kind of borders on being wiped out to me. And that's where I would like to trade down. Now, again, there are no trades in this mock draft, so it's going to be a stick and pick thing. Some notable players who were on the board. Marion Hampton out of North Carolina. Matthew Golden, and all the other receivers are there at Texas for Golden, but all the receivers are there. Tyler Warren is there at 12. Will Campbell and other offensive linemen, Booker, Simmons, etc. He is there still. Mykel Williams, who I think if the board played this way, and the Cowboys could not trade down, I would not be surprised if Mykel Williams was the pick. I don't like it. Not what I would do, but it wouldn't surprise me if that was the wiped for me is not wiped for them scenario. Jihad Campbell is there, but the pick was Tyler Warren out of Penn State. This is kind of both a luxury pick, and you could maybe argue is the best player available in this class. Not everyone would have the same mindset, by the way. Here's the argument from Matt Miller. The Cowboys need playmakers everywhere, and that should be their early focus. Warren would give them an upper-caliber starting tight end who would instantly be Dallas's number 2 option behind CeeDee Lamb. Brock Bowers showed how impactful a rookie tight end could be last season, and Warren has many similar qualities, including being able to get open and a knack for creating yards after the catch. Warren won the John Mackey Award for Nation's top tight end, putting up absurd numbers, 104 catches for 1,233 yards. He also ran for 4 TDs, passed for another, as Penn State's most productive offensive player. Dallas has been linked to backs here, but with Genty off the board and a deep crop of runners in this class, they're better served getting a top tight end now and addressing back on day 2. The talent is undoubtedly there, and I've heard good things about his football character and his IQ as well. The Penn State offense was, let's just get the ball to Tyler Warren. He had 135 targets on 104 catches, actually pretty darn good. He's had special teams background stuff. He had 19 forced missed tackles, which was second most in college football. Small sample size back in 2023, but was productive overall there. Great contested catch. He's got the size, the athletic ability. I think he's okay as a blocker. I think he needs work there. He was a high school quarterback, so he's kind of still developing that angle there in the end. I've kind of got shades of early career Greg Olsen and Jason Witten, and if we get testing times, it might look a little bit like Jimmy Graham. Damn good player, but it is a tight end. So what would be your one-word reaction if the Cowboys drafted Tyler Warren in the first round? Let me know in the comments section, the pinned comment actually, of today's show. Some notable round 2 picks. Emeka Egbuka off the board, Tyler Booker off the board, Travion Henderson, Kenneth Grant fell to 39, which I would have been really intrigued by. Walter Nolan off the board. Again, there were some weird picks with what Miller was doing there, but I digress. Round 2, pick 44, is Caleb Johnson, the running back out of Iowa. Highly productive player, and especially with Henderson not there, I think the consensus would be to have him as the next best back on the board for the Cowboys. Massive need filled, productive and talented runner. Here's the pitch from Matt Miller. The Cowboys wait to add their back and get a powerful runner with great outside zone ability. The 6'1", 224-pound Johnson, which he's not quite that size, but who cares? Rushed for 23 touchdowns in 2024 while adding 1,725 all-purpose yards. He's a slasher who loves to run downhill and will make defenders pay if they're in his path when he clears the line of scrimmage. Watching him run through and around tackles out to the box gives off similar vibes to former Cowboys running back DeMarco Murray. By the way, terrible comp. And that's not a slight at all against Caleb Johnson, by the way, who does have like the size that kind of matches DeMarco Murray, but there's also like a kind of massive difference in terms of their top end speed. Caleb Johnson ran in the, I think it was a 4.58, which at 224 is actually fine. The thing that people tend to forget about DeMarco Murray, even though he was kind of built in a similar fashion, or he's tall, he was powerful. I think he checked into the combine like at 6'1", 213. Murray ran a 4.37. It's just not similar. I think actually Tyler Algier, who has been very good for the Falcons, is a good comp. He had great production at Iowa, even though everybody on the defense knew, hey, he's going to get the football because they couldn't throw it. They had no passing offense. I think the pass production does need a little bit of work. He's done some good stuff after the catch as a receiver. The Nebraska TD was that was nutty. Just you search Caleb Johnson, it's going to be the first one there. That one was really impressive. I think he's got good vision. I think like the patience and that kind of reminds me a little bit of Lev Bell, but he's not the pass catcher that Lev Bell was. The next best back on the board was Quinshon Judkins. Hampton was long gone. He went in round one. So you could have gone Judkins or Johnson. That probably would have been the two main ones there. Picks that followed not long after, Jalen Knoll, Donovan Jackson, James Pierce. Quinn Ewers went to the Saints in round two, which okay, that's fine. More players fall down. And Benjamin Morrison and Siobhan Ravel were also all on the board. The Cowboys don't go back in round one. Who is a day two, second or third round, running back that you want to draft? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. All right, round three picks here. Joshua Farmer out of Florida State goes to the Chiefs. Landon Jackson goes to Arkansas. Elike Omenor goes to Stanford, or out of Stanford to Patriots. Jackson to the Raiders. I would have loved that. I would have loved that pick. Jacob Parrish and Isaiah Bond, back-to-back picks there to the Bears in this ESPN mock draft. Matt Miller's pick was Jack Besh, the wide receiver out of TCU. As you'll see in a little bit, there were not a lot of the top caliber receivers who were left. The pitch from Matt is this. The Cowboys continue to load up on offense with the sure-handed Besh, who can line up outside at 6'1", 215 pounds. I kind of get some like Jawan Jennings vibes from his game, where he's not a freaky athlete, but for a guy that like played tight end essentially at LSU for a little bit and was like a big slot receiver for them, he can block. I think the physicality, if they're still going to just keep making the stupid comeback routes part of the offense, this guy can win on those. Kind of like some of the better versions of Michael Gallup for the Cowboys. Great contested catch player. Actually very good at making guys miss. I don't think he's got elite speed. I think the testing was good. He did not run the 40 because I think it would have been in the mid to high 4.5s. But I think as just a ball player, Jack Besh in the third round, that's where I have him graded, would be a solid pick. Others on the board in round three. Again, it was kind of all defense for me. Like the notable guys who were left that I wanted to shout out. TJ Sanders, both Ohio State edges were there. Kind of surprising to me. But weird stuff happens, I guess. Princely Uman Mielen, Quincy Riley out of Louisville as well. So what round do you want to draft a wide receiver? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. What round would you ideally like to take a wideout? This is kind of where I think specifically for the Cowboys, the ESPN mock got off the rails. David Walker, the edge rusher out of Central Arkansas. You're going, who? Don't blame you. Small school player, really good athlete, and great production. Consistently getting a ton of pressures at Central Arkansas. I'm surprised didn't try to transfer upward. The length or lack thereof, sub 32-inch arms. The size, he's like a shade under 6'1", 263 means A, you're only going to see Elvis Dumerville comps for him. That's the only comp you're going to see out there, essentially. I think he's a pass rush specialist. The athletic testing is there. He tested very well. The production is there. I thought he played pretty well at the Senior Bowl to kind of help calm some concerns there. I don't love him against the run. I think that's a pass rush specialist in the 5th round, which okay, but it's a small school guy. Remember that, because they did another small school pick here. Carson Vincent, the offensive tackle out of Alabama A&M, who I have a 6th round grade on. And this is all traits. You draft Carson Vincent not because of his film, but because he's 6'7", with 34, almost 35-inch arms. That is extremely rare size that NFL teams love. He is a really good athlete. He moves well. You're like, the athletic comps are Jordan Mailata and Patrick Paul. Now, Mailata was a late-round pick because he hadn't played football. And it looks like sometimes Vincent doesn't know how to play football. He got cooked in the Senior Bowl. He was not good against Auburn. I think you draft him and you sit him for 2 years, and then you see what he's got for that. Because I think he needs all the technique stuff to be changed. He plays tall, wide hands, great athlete, but he's got a lot of work to do. So a little early for me, but it'd be a developmental, offensive tackle. Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins, who we've actually mentioned on our last mock draft, so I kind of found this one funny. I got him around later, but it's a 7-rounder. Stuff happens. He's a good athlete. Inside, outside flexibility for Dawkins, who did never really put up great production. At times, the Georgia defense is not built to give you great production. It's kind of almost a weird defense. Tested like Keon White, but I don't think he's nearly that level of athlete. He's got under 900 career snaps. But again, this is just like these last 2 picks. You're banking on traits and developing this type of player, which is fine on day 3, but another front 4 player in the class is interesting. Now, we will have more Cowboys draft rumors for you, all in updates and mocks and news and targets and 30 visits and everything else in between. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/CowboysTV. Next up is Robert Longerbeam. Great name out of Rutgers. This is a speedster at corner. He is rather slender, though. He is not a heavy type of player. Has showcased some good ball skills over the past couple of years, which I always value there. Does have 31.5-inch arms, which is good where the Cowboys tend to draft. Kind of reminds me of DJ James out of Auburn, if you guys remember him from last year. 4.39 40-yard dash. He's just 175, though. I don't love him in run support, which I suspect some of you guys might not want to deal with necessarily either. It is another small school player in this ESPN mock draft, Jackson Slater out of Sacramento State. Now, he faces a sizable uptick in the level of competition, like a lot of the small school guys do. He's got not great size. He's 6'3", 311, 32-inch arms. I might try him at center because I think he's got a decent football IQ, and he's done it briefly, held up pretty well at the Senior Bowl, held up at San Jose State. I don't see an elite trait, and I don't see positional flex right now. But again, good athlete, which you have to be from a small school. Otherwise, I'm not interested, frankly. Didn't get beat very much. I just kind of see backup here. Now, of note, with the Cowboys specifically, and why I don't like the day 3 picks that ESPN's Matt Miller made, the Cowboys don't draft small school players anymore. FCS level, it has happened 3 times in the last 11 years. So I would highly doubt they match it and take 3 guys in the same day in the NFL draft. Round 7, let's go to Yaya Black out of Iowa. This one is what you see is what you get. You see a 6'5" and 3/4, almost 6'6", 336-pound with 35-inch arm defensive lineman. Guess what he's good at? Taking up space. Being a run stopper. Yeah, that's what he does well. And I think you do need that. He's not as athletic, but he's built like former Iowa defensive tackle Carl Davis. Does do a good job getting them hands up, batting down passes, 11 career PBUs. 7-foot wingspan. Got to play lower, though. He plays like he's 6'6" sometimes, too. Ends up on the ground way more than he should. But you need a run stopper. You get one. Ty Felton. This was, I think, my favorite day 3 pick because I think this is a sleeper upside out of Maryland. It's a great value pick. Taking 2 receivers is interesting, given the Cowboys' just overall roster construction, but whatever. Did a lot more stuff vertically downfield back in 2023 when they had a better quarterback. The hilarious athletic comp, by the way, is actually C.J. Goodwin, who, of course, flipped from receiver to corner after college. He had 14 tackles on, under 300 special team snaps, so he could definitely be a gunner for you and actually kind of funnily take over the Goodwin role next year, but as a receiver. He did some good yak stuff, tested great, 4.37 40-yard dash, 6'1" and change, 183. Get him in the 7th, and that'd be a great pick. So to recap the ESPN mock draft here. Tyler Warren, round 1. Caleb Johnson, round 2. Jack Besh, round 3. David Walker in the 5th. Carson Vincent in the 5th. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins in the 5th. Robert Longerbeam, Jackson Slater in round 6. Yaya Black and Ty Felton in the 7th round. So grade that mock draft from ESPN. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comment section of today's show.